Hi, everybody. Tonight, we're gathered together in honor of Susan Morgan, who has recently crossed over. And we're gathering together right now to make a connection with her, to tell her we love her, to thank her for being such an incredible pioneer in the consciousness movement and in the dream world. I just want to say that I'm a firm believer that people don't actually die. They cross into a new place where they can interact with us if we ask them to, and if they have chosen not to move upward and move on to other things. I believe that that our souls carry on. And I was reading a book called Proof of Heaven, and it's all about this idea of people who have died and come back and told about what's there. I want to let you know that we did do a medium session with Susan and Alan Steinfeld, and Susan wanted us to know that despite the circumstances, that she's doing really well, and she's in a very safe and loving place. And she just wanted everyone to know that that she feels safe and loved. And that seems to be a lot of what people say when they cross over, is that it's actually quite beautiful and it feels really good and they feel really connected. That doesn't change the fact that it's very hard for us, and of course for Susan's family to deal with the jarring idea that she won't be with us as she has been before. So tonight, I just want to honor her and her work. And first, I just want to start with a few moments where we're going to drop into our hearts and we're going to connect with her. We have some radio devices here. We have a TV as well. Perhaps she'll decide to interact with those, perhaps not. But we want to give her permission to do that. And maybe some of you will get messages from her when we do this moment of silence, so you can really open yourself to connecting with her, open your heart. They say when you connect with someone from the beyond, you want to say their name 3 times, and you want to call them in with all your heart. Susan Morgan, Susan Morgan, Susan Morgan. We enter a moment of silence where we can communicate with you with our hearts, with our energies, our telepathy, and our souls at this time. So what I could see was almost us lighting candles in a stairway going up, and her as also lighting from her side down to us, and flowers falling everywhere. And she was almost laughing. She was like saying, she had that smirk about her that was so fun and so alive. And she was always when she would talk to me, she's like, oh, you're never going to believe this. I was listening and I'm supposed to do this, or I'm supposed to do that. And so she would really listen to source and God and all that is. And it would allow her to do incredible things in her life, whether it was buying particular furniture for her shop, or opening her shop, or meeting someone, or helping someone, or doing these conferences, the Dreamscape conferences that she did. And she always told me, she's like, I would run these dream circles, and she said, if I could just get one person over the line where they would start to be able to use their dreams to heal their life, she was like, that would just fill me up. And she was so smart and strategic about how she would run these circles and work with people. She had a true connection with her drumming and her heart and her soul, as well as a really strong intellect about her work and her consciousness. And obviously, Susan, you were a pioneer of pioneers. Not many people have opened metaphysical bookshops and run conferences and been, doing TV shows and really drawing attention to the fact that our dreams are so important to our lives, and that we don't know anything about dreams. We don't understand how this works. And thanks to you, we are so much closer to that. You are such an inspiration and so inspiring, and your personality is infectious. And that's what drew so many people to you and your work. So I want to honor you tonight, and other people here as well are here to honor your life. I'm going to bring people on now. If you would like to get into the Zoom room, you can do that. Actually, just go to lightnet.org/unlimited, and that will actually give you the Zoom to get in. So Patricia, thank you for joining us. I leave the floor to you at this time.
Hi, thank you. I didn't know what to expect that this might be, but I thought, oh, there will be many people I can just kind of fade into the background and listen. And now I see this is a very intimate and interactive time that we have here. So you talked about what Susan said about her dream circles, and if she could touch one person. Well, I certainly am one of those people that I went to her dream circles in Exeter, New Hampshire for years. And now I live by my dreams. She taught me that. I remember when I was coming to Iowa in about 2013 and really I missed my weekly dream circles terribly. And I wanted Susan to teach me how to facilitate a dream circle. And I didn't know if I could do it because I don't have, psychic and mediumship ability. So I thought, can I lead a dream circle? So we sat together. I made a business appointment with her, and I made a proposal for her to teach me with lots of pages in it. She looked at it, and pretty soon she just handed it back to me. I was offering to pay her money to teach me, and she just said, you got this, you can do this. Just go do it. You have my blessing. And she just opened me up in so many ways, taught me so much. I'm sure that's true of everybody here. So I will listen to what others have to say. And
thank you so much, Patricia. What did she teach you about your dreams, and how do you use your dreams now in your life?
Well, she taught me to pay attention, first of all, and how important it is to work them with other people. Left by myself with my dream, I don't really get the context of it. I don't get the full impact of the teaching. And so we have a habit in my household. Every morning we have a little mini 2-person dream circle, and it guides our days, what we're going to do. I also pay attention to warnings. And it also taught me to be very, very careful about never interpreting anything in anybody else's life. Susan was so adamant about we don't interpret anyone else's dreams or speak for anyone else. And I've learned to just apply that to every area of my life. Just a silly little example. Just a couple of days ago, I dreamed of a dog pulling my husband into a deep pool of water. And he walks every morning. So before he went for his walk, I just said, I had this dream. So you may want to just avoid that area when you go for your walk. Don't walk there today. And he said, oh, there's terrible dogs there. I'm nervous every time I walk there. And he just walked a different direction. So just those simple little everyday things that I know I don't dream randomly. If I have a dream, there's usefulness for me. And Susan taught me that no matter the small, tiny little dream or big, epic dream, pay attention.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. You know, that is exactly what Daniel Rashkin also tells everybody. He's the co-founder of LightNet, and he said, number one, talk about your dreams with others. Tell someone. And because it's an acknowledgement that it happened. And number two, act on your dreams. You know what I mean? And number three, don't interpret other people's dreams. So it's like he's echoing what she has taught. And that's really great. Everyone who's listening right now, I encourage you to ask to remember your dreams tonight. Maybe Susan will even be in those dreams tonight. So Susan wrote 2 books. One is Death and Continuing On. So this would be interesting for everyone to get this, right? And to learn about that. And the other one is The Power of Dreams, Dream Tools for Navigating Your Life. So yeah. I'm going to bring Alan Steinfeld on next. Alan, thanks for co-broadcasting this celebration of life today for Susan. Susan absolutely adored you, and I'm glad you're here with your white hat to pay her tribute again.
Well, thanks. No, it's hard to get a signal. I'm out here in the middle of this little beach town, so I don't know how long I'll be able to stay on. But I do want to say that I met Susan sort of, I would say, accidentally at the Laughlin UFO conference, and we just were standing next to each other online. She was very friendly. We just recognized. There was an instant recognition. I told her I wrote a book. She invited me to come to the bookstore to have a book signing and a talk with JJ and Desiree. And I think I mentioned about doing something in Sedona, a conference that she wanted to do, a Mystic Dreaming conference, where she called me up. But I think meeting me in the Hertogs may have brought her there, which introduced her to you, Zinka, and the whole neighborhood that we are, or the whole community that we're a part of. And she gave those conferences, I would say, almost as a gift to Sedona. She didn't make any money, I don't think. She probably lost a lot of money, but she felt like she just wanted to do that for our community, for kind of inner network. I don't know if she even realized why she wanted to do it, but she was pulling together some energy of sorts. And I think it's that mystical energy that really drove her, like beyond reason, beyond what seems logical. She was led by a higher power, I think. And what we found out from the medium that we saw who talked to her from the other side was that it's basically all okay. It's all okay. And you know, it's tragic and awful how it came down, but if we looked at that last panel that we did at her last conference in Sedona, I think she was planning something or doing something. There was something in the works there that was like functioning on another level with her. So I felt very fortunate to feel close to her, to be a part of her mystic dreaming realities. And I felt close to her, even though I probably only saw her maybe 5 times or something. But I think she's planted seeds of possibilities with whoever she touched, and I'm really happy to have been a part of that community and what you've created for her, Zinka. I mean, I brought you into that conference, right? And then it's like you just totally took off and it connected, and you two just connected and you were like a team with Susan. I was really happy about that. So I think she was a fantastic human being, compassionate and loving and generous. And I think that's what we're here to be. I think she lived by that example and she taught that to other people. So thanks for the opportunity of sharing that.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.
I think you're right. She was like definitely weaving some sort of energy because the people she connected at those conferences she's saying yes. So she is using one of the radios right now, which is cool. We're getting the TV ready for her too. Oh, wow. And she, I don't think she had any idea as the conferences went on, one after the other, so much stuff happened between the people that were there, life-changing relationships and collaborations. I'm getting full body chills. So just want to thank you, Susan, for foreseeing that and following through and doing that for the community, for the world. Bradley, do you want to go next?
Yes, I just want to say, I had just met her at the conference, the Dreamscape conference, and it was great. And I just want to thank her for having that. And I met a lot of neat people that came from Vegas, and she had a group of friends that were great. And I was there the whole time and learned a lot and met a lot of neat people. So I thank her for that. And I think the comments written about her were really telling, and, in her obituary and stuff. So anyway, I was just thankful to have met her and to have attended and met a lot of neat people. So that's all.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you too. Yes.
What appropriate message, because you're one of the people that were folded into this beautiful thing that she created. She gave so many interesting people a chance to speak, and then she would broadcast it. I mean, some of the talks that I heard at her conference just really, landed for me or changed my life.
She had a lot of people there on my little paper.
Wow.
I know. So anyway,
that's so cool.
I know. I'm thankful.
Awesome.
You too.
I thank you guys so much for honoring Susan. And I just want you to know that if she chooses to connect with us, you can call her name and ask for signs and talk with her. There was a strange thing. I was just checking if I should mention it, and it was yes. So while I was in Hawaii with Ashley, I'm going to bring Ashley in, and then Riz, I'll take you next. So we had Adam and I we had found out that she died on my birthday, and we were in Hawaii, and we'd gotten lays when we got in the airport, and Adam said, we can take the flowers off this lei and put it in the ocean as a sign of love and communion and respect for her. And so we did that, and I'll never forget. We just pulled over on the side of the road, and we said a prayer, and it was really beautiful. And then a couple days later, we were going over to Ashley's house, and she had a Hawaiian elder there, wisdom keeper. And I walked in the door, and all of a sudden I got a phone call from Susan on my phone, and I picked it up, and she wasn't there. But I believe that people who have crossed, especially when permission is given, can use electronics. I mean, these are proof of that. And so yeah, I think she's here with us in every way that we need her and want her to be if she so chooses. So I encourage you. So when we did a long session with her at that time, and she again reiterated that she's okay, and she answered our questions in a loving way, and she did so for almost, she just said yes for 45 minutes. There's a chance that we'll be able to ask her questions right now with the radio. If you guys want to type it into the chat, we can see if she wants to do that. Great, April, you want to share? That's great. Let me bring on Ashley in the meantime, and then we're going to do Riz, because Riz is as not well, but he wants to come on, I think. So Ashley, okay, yeah, she said yeah. Go ahead, Ashley.
Hi. Thank you for sharing. It is amazing, us living our lives and being our gifted selves in every moment to moment. And Susan definitely shared that giftedness with herself to everyone. And I thank you. I heard that you were going to be speaking at the Dreamscape, and something came inside of me and said, unusually, Zinka, may you introduce me to Susan so that I may speak as well. And that occurred and unfolded. And it was very interesting because I had never met Susan prior to the Dreamscape in Sedona also earlier this year. And it was very beautiful to meet her and her dog and her husband and everyone in the family of Dreamscape, and all the speakers and all the people too that have attended the conference. And so it was amazing to hear that process and how her life unfolded into this next chapter, this next transition. And thank you for sharing that book that she wrote. I didn't realize she wrote that kind of book. And it explains a lot, I sense, on the inner. And it was really amazing to be with you and Adam and Manu in the moment that she called in on the phone call in Hawaii, and sharing with us. And then we also got to share with Alan. I think he just stepped out, and to share opportunities of what it is when we're living our lives in our human body, and then what it is when we're living our lives outside of our human body. And what if some of those things aren't so different, and that their implicate world or on the inside of ourselves is similar to the outside? And she definitely bridged those two worlds for us through dreams and through I loved her sincerity about being sincere about dreams, rather than just being flighty or using it as this tool for imagination. That it was such an awareness field that's so much deeper than this idea of just free ideas or imagining or being delusional, or these things, that they're all formats of our reality that have yet to be expressed, and that there are opportunities for us to go deeper and bridge the implicate world with the explicit world, bridge our manifestations and our creations, therefore deepening our relationships with each other. And I sense that her passing in this process is an opportunity for us to feel more connected than we ever felt before.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Yeah. Yeah, the fact that she reached out to me and one other person via this phone call makes me think that she does want to work with us, that she does want to talk with us, that she does want to explore this, at least right now, this relationship between her, where she is and where we are. And obviously, we need a lot of help. We're going through some interesting times right now. So having a perspective from her side can be really valuable.
It can be. And also, like what you were just pointing or leaning into is, what if she's not earthbound here talking to us, or here sharing with us on the radios, and the phone call, that was awesome, right? And it's inexplicable, right? I mean, it's beyond what we know is possible. And how she was so cute on the radios, where she was sharing with us that she couldn't answer the yes and the no and the this and the that. And so you went to another divining process of holding the space with the pendulum. And it was really beautiful because she could connect with that, and that we're all learning on all the sides of the veil, if you could call it that, or the levels of incarnation that we create. And so I sense that us communicating with her and she communicating with us doesn't mean she's stuck, and doesn't mean she's not in the light. It means I sense that we
Right.
have these multiple spaces of awareness we can access to share the love with each other, and that we aren't bound or structured in a certain bubble where we can't be ourselves and be our divinity in all the spaces that we are, is what I sense she wants us to have a greater understanding and understanding about.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. You know, the medium that I know, when she works with people, she says, number one, ask for signs, and number two, just close your eyes, and you can really just be with that other person. Again, call their name 3 times and then be with them. Now, she was communicating 2 beeps and 1 beep there. And Ashley was talking about being stuck. So there are some people, it can be especially people who've gone through a violent death that do get stuck. And there are some people that get into a loop in the astral plane, and they need a lot of light to be sent to them in order for them to get out of the confusion, the mind confusion of what happened, I guess. And when people send them light, then they can lift up higher into the other spaces. So why don't we send her a lot of light right now? And I do know that people that are very ascended, can come down to be with us in this earth plane, to see us, to interact with us, to support opening doors and different things for us. So it doesn't mean if she's interacting with us, she's stuck. It doesn't mean that she's in a lower heaven. It means often when people die, they stick around for a while just to watch and to decompress. So why don't we send her from our hearts? Like, imagine the most amount of light that you could ever pull from above your head and from below your feet and through your heart. And we're going to offer that to her as well. And we'll literally just send her love and comfort.
I sense she can make her own light.
Yeah, she doesn't need this. She doesn't need this, but I still want to do it.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great. I want it to be clear. And I was asking her if she would share with us the clarity of this. If she can create her own light, we can create our own light. And together we create a greater light together. So I sense that's what you're sharing so very deeply and kindly. And what a great way, right, to have this new format of celebrations of life. Thank you, Zinka, for bringing us together.
Yeah, I mean, we often, when we have these celebrations of life, we often talk about it as if they're not here, but she's right here, and she can be here as she chooses, right? So
I need to find more.
oh, cool.
Found a lot.
Okay.
Oh, there's 40.
So here we go, you guys. I had to give my son $15 today for the last 2 weeks of saying swear words. And I think that I don't remember if Susan used swear words, but she was so passionate, you guys. Like, she was like, let's do this. And she's like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to say what I think right now. And we're going to do this. And like, when she would run the conferences, she did it as a true leader. And she's so passionate and so strong. So anyway, so kind of like in Reiki, when you bring light in, maybe she wants to give it to us, and maybe we want to give it to her, and maybe it'll just create a beautiful like show of light. So let's do that right now. Let's use
like
her energy.
it's like an abundance of light. It's like as I
Yeah.
take care of me for you and you take care of you for me, together we come to the conversation, the experience, and the relationship abundantly full of light, not needing each other, choosing to be with each other.
Yeah.
And that really helps us step into that lane of conscious choice in a very deep way. Thank you.
Okay, so everyone just close your eyes for a moment here. Imagine a huge ball of light that's coming up from the earth, down from the heavens, and through your heart. And we'll hold up our arms a little bit to her and let the light flow right to her heart in honor of her life. Feel that. Yeah, I don't know in that moment if Susan was comforting us or we were comforting her, but like I imagined her like us touching her hair and her touching our hair, and just in that most relaxed and loving way. Riz, are you ready to join us for a tribute? Can you turn on your camera and everything? All right. Thanks, Riz. It's good to see you, Riz. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good to be here with everyone. Apologize, I probably won't stay too long, but just wanted to say a few words. You know, it was really saddened to hear about Susan's passing, although she seems happy enough on the other side. You know, I've known her for almost 2 decades now, and we met originally when she and I both were students of shamanic dream work with a guy named Robert Moss, you know, who taught us to do the shamanic drumming and to revisit our dreams. And I met her when she was in Mystic, Connecticut. And, you know, we connected right away. And then every few years, I found that there was some reason for us to connect. And I think, you know, with her, the workshops that she's put on in Sedona recently, you know, it was a great opportunity for people to connect. But part of her mission, I feel like, was getting other people to realize their true potential and become who they could be. You know, like when I told her the first time I was working on a book, and she said, well, why don't you come and teach a workshop on it in Connecticut? I said, well, I'm still writing this book as my first, you know, kind of spiritual book. She's like, no, you got to come. You got to do this workshop. So she kind of made me do this workshop. And it got me into, you know, this teaching mode. And then I remember, you know, a year or two later, I was at MIT working on some stuff. And I wanted to give so we had all these left brain computer science guys from MIT, and they were, you know, they're used to thinking a certain way. And I was thinking, how do I shake these guys up? And I realized, oh, we could bring Susan. And so, you know, Susan is probably the only person who ever went and taught shamanic dream work at the MIT Media Lab to a bunch of, you know, left brain geeks. And so, you know, that was a lot of fun. And, you know, she had this kind of buoyant quality. She connected with all these guys. You know, even though she came from such different worlds. And I really like that about her. You know, she was always, hey, let's just get this done. Even she had a lot of issues in her life. You know, she had some serious health issues for a while, issues with her kids and all kinds of issues with her previous partner. And yet it never got her down. You know, she always had this great spirit. And I really love that about her. it's funny, right now I'm back in Boston, which is where I met her, even though I don't live here most of the year. And just as I got on this, I realized, I had these old CDs sitting around, and I wasn't sure what they were. I don't know if you can see this, but it says Mystic Dream Center. And this
Wow.
was, Susan used to have a show, like a little show that she put on. I think it was like on public TV in Mystic, Connecticut. And in 2006, she's like, I really want you to be on this show. And she came out to Cambridge and she shot all this footage at MIT. And it was like, I mean, now I do podcasts all the time, but back then it was like, something completely new. I wasn't sure if I was ready for. And so again, she just shook me up and made sure that I was. And I got up and did it. And so, most of my CDs and DVDs are gone, but it's so funny that I happen to have this one like sitting literally right next to me right here. I haven't watched it in ages, but now would be a good time to go back and see her as a host of her Mystic Dream Center show. So and then the last time I saw her was in Sedona back in the fall, and Zenka, you were there, and I didn't necessarily, I wasn't feeling well. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go and speak at a conference, but she again, she did her thing and she shook me up and got me out there, and it was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I went, and she asked me to come to one recently. Unfortunately, I was on the East Coast, so I couldn't make it, and so now I was sort of sad that I didn't see her. But most of all, I appreciated her spirit, and the way that she would shake people up, and she would see things in you perhaps that you haven't even, maybe you haven't even seen it yet in yourself, and she would give you an opportunity to like become that person that she saw. So I think, I'm going to miss you, Susan. I know a lot of other people will, but I'm sure she's now shaking people up on the other side as well.
Thank you so much, Riz. That's beautiful. So beautiful. The TV show, so she started saying yes, yes, yes when you showed that CD. And I just looked it up. The TV show is called The Mystic Dream Show. And I'm going to show you her link tree and how to get to it with all of her life's work. But I wanted to ask you, Riz, what she taught you about dream.
About dreams? I think she taught me to trust myself, with respect to, my dreams, right? And that's important because it's hard sometimes, especially if you come from like a scientific background, it's hard to kind of trust yourself and your own intuition. And so that was one thing she taught me. And another was, that really, it's possible to kind of get people who aren't used to thinking about these types of intuitive things, right, into an altered state, and that's a great way to kind of show them this larger reality. And like I said, what I saw she did with the folks at MIT, I was really impressed at just how she got them out of their minds into their bodies and then into their spirit. And so, she taught me a lot that way too.
That's great, Riz. And I think, when you were describing how she got people like out of their comfort zone, you're like, I'm like just writing the book. I'm not going to teach a class on it. She's like, oh yeah, you are. Let's do this. She was like that too, which is probably why she was such a pioneer, is she would just go. She's like, I have the intuition to do that and do like walk where no man had walked. You know what I mean? She was pioneering all this stuff when people weren't even comfortable with these topics or these things. So that is a true legacy, and finding your passion and getting out of your comfort zone is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Riz. We appreciate it. I'm going to share with you guys here how to find her Linktree. So Linktree is a site that allows you to basically store a bunch of links. And so it's linktr.ee. And then it's Susan Morgan 11. So linktr.ee, Susan Morgan 11. And from there, you can see has all of her different things. So she has the Mystic Dream Center, the Dreamscape conferences, shattering the bad dream, which is great. What to do when your dreams aren't that great, which for most people, including myself, nightmares or weird dreams, like, whoa, right? So all of her books, her biography, etc. So yeah, that's there. I want to call April up now. April, can you turn on your camera and unmute your mic? Okay, great. And then Karen, I'm going to call on you next. Thanks, April, for joining us.
Thank you so much. You know, I just found out today that Susan had passed, and I have no idea how I didn't know. But I hadn't been on social media much. I met her in 2019. She was a gal that gave me my first opportunity to practice Reiki at her facility at Mystic Dream here in Henderson. And I would participate in some of her wellness events and what have you. One of the things that, well, there were several things, but that stood out to me or that impacted me personally was I was middle-aged, and I had been in real estate for like 11 years, and I wanted to leave, and I was fairly successful in that career. And I said, I like to do this. Like, I like to do this. I'm an artist. I want to practice Reiki, so on and so forth. And there were a myriad of things that I wanted to incorporate together. And I was embarrassed to even admit that. And she looked at me and said, "You're a Renaissance woman, and do not pigeonhole yourself. And don't get bogged down with you're this or you're that and have this identity of one thing." And this is only after, I think, maybe the second meeting I had had with her, but there was something so profound that it stuck with me. And in fact, all of those things that I was a little nervous about just totally changing my entire life path, she has always been in my mind and heart. And so I was painting a picture maybe like it was about a year ago. And I started off as Greta Garbo, but then about 20% into that painting, I'm like, no, this is Susan Morgan. And she was breathing out this light and merging the heavens together. And so I did give her that painting. They wanted to purchase it. I gave it to her. But I'm still just taking it in because I really just found out that this happened. And all I want to say is that even in brief encounters with her, she did have a genuine impact. I saw the way she would interact with her customers or friends that she had known for years, and they were drawn in, and it's because she was so welcoming. And like the previous gentleman said, where she can see those things, and almost weirdly where she gives you permission to live your life the way you want to live it, and why someone else might say it, but when she said it, you believed it, and it felt very powerful. And I've had several interactions with her. I've met her since 2019, and she has impacted my life greatly. And I just wanted to share that because she was a wonderful, wonderful person. And, I will definitely miss her, just like all of us will.
Thank you so much, April, for sharing that. And thank you so much for painting that painting. That sounds incredible. And, for all those listening, I'm sure Susan had that effect on a lot of people, because she had that effect on Riz and Ashley and me and April. So, we're a few people representing a common theme of sometimes when someone looks you in your eyes and says, "Yep, I see who you are, what you could be. I see your dreams," and the anguish that we go through sometimes clouds that vision. It's interesting that you talked about the light and her and coming out of her being and stuff, because Gail just shared this, which I'm going to read, because I don't believe that she can share it directly with her camera set up. So this is so beautiful. She says, "I'm sending this through with permission from Susan to share a conversation I had with her son, Gabriel. She was, besides networking, was being tested by Buddhist monks. She passed a test that takes years of study, typically within the Buddhist tradition, and basically just intuited the answers. Gabriel was told by a few of these monks that they're not surprised of her passing, and that her light body was surpassing her physical body. She is a Bodhisattva now. Being here in the physical body, I was a little pissed that they were what seemed to me being so nonchalant about the tragedy. But in hearing this story from Gabriel twice, I know now that this is true. Synchronicity with three people who told me the same thing, that she's certainly here and has only just begun.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
A Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva, right. I knew I butchered that, but yeah,
You
her
didn't.
body, yeah, her light body was surpassing her physical body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
Interesting,
doesn't surprise me.
right? I also am, Karen, if you want to go next, that would be great. I also wanted to say that a year ago, July 4th, a year before her passing, another great female leader passed as well, Celestine Starr. So I hope you guys are knowing each other there where you are. Hello, Celestine. Karen, I met you because of Susan, so I'm feeling grateful tonight for that. And thanks for coming on to share your love with her.
Can you hear me? Is my mic on?
Yeah, we can totally hear you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I have no idea how I met Susan. Like I knew it was at her Dreamscape events in Sedona, but I don't know, like I didn't know her before. So I'm like, how did I even know of that event to go there? Like I've been kind of struggling with trying to figure out how that happened. But like I don't know, like I loved her Dreamscape and I love like her storytelling. She was such a great storyteller. And like she would talk to me about how she would put on like these meetings, how she would just find people and then bring them all together, because she was like, we could do so much damage if we all knew everything at the same time. Like everyone is its own like unique piece of the puzzle, and if we're not coming together, then we're just kind of stuck floating off by ourselves. And so like I really loved how she was just bringing us all together. And like she was important, and one of my favorite things is like when she talked to you, she made you feel like you were important. And that was just awesome of her to do that. And like I am definitely going to try to, I guess, steal that from her and project that as to whoever I'm talking to in the future. But then also she was kind of like my like entrepreneur like partner. Like she was having her meetings, and then I became the director of Tucson MUFON, and then like all of a sudden like I had meetings, and I was talking to her like, how would you do this, like what would you do that, and like I was coming up with stickers, and I was just like, I was showing her like all my designs for like shirts and hats and stickers and stuff, and she was like, those are great, and she would give me like more ideas, and then I would go run through that, and she was like, those are awesome. And then I guess I was helping her with like her puzzle pieces, because she would tell me a story and I would be like, I know of that, like, and I would send her a video, and she was like, oh my god, like where did you find this, like this is what I needed to know. And like I don't know, I love like helping her with that, and I wanted to like do more of that. Like she said she had another Dreamscape tour for October planned, and she was just like, you won't believe who I'm finding. I'm like, I'm so excited to figure out who you're finding. And it's such a bummer that now I guess that's over. Like I hope it's not over. Like I don't know how that could continue, and unless like the people who went there, unless they picked up that torch and carried it on ourselves. But like she was losing money, and she told me like she didn't really, well, she wanted to do them, but she also didn't. But she said like her guides would tell her like, you have to put on these meetings, and she would be like, why? And they would be like, you just do it. And she's like, all right, fine, we're doing this. And like I kind of love that about her. Like I don't know, I'm kind of glad like I don't really have guide to like tell me to do stuff, because I mean, that would be really hard to explain to like all the normies out there. My parents would be like, why are you doing that? I'd be like, but not schizophrenic. But yeah, I really cherished like all the fun and amazing things that she would tell me. And she told me like a fun story about like her family life. She would say when she was at the dinner table, like waiting for her family to finish eating, she could spoon bend, and she would just kind of sit there bored, like playing with a fork, and she would accidentally bend it, and then her children would be like, no, Mom, you just ruined another fork. I'm like, that is hilarious and awesome. I want to have dinner at your place. Like, what else are you doing? Like, that's amazing. And I did, when she had the spoon bending class at, I guess, one of the first meetings she had in Sedona, like the third time was a charm for me. Like, that was my first attempt, and like she gave everyone like 3 spoons. And like my first 2 were weird, like they just bent into like a 90-degree angle. But my third one, like it definitely like spiraled up, and I thought that was like really fun and cool, and like I couldn't wait for the next one. Oh, and when she was having her meetings, like I was like, because I was also big in the CE5, like I'm the admin of like the Arizona CE5 network, and we have like over 500 people, and I was like every month I was like throwing her like marketing, like just throwing her meetings out there, like, hey, like go to these meetings, these are awesome. If you want to learn anything about metaphysical world or UFOs or aliens, just go and your mind will be blown. Like, please just go. And like I hope I got some of the or at least a few of these people to like go. Like no one really introduced themselves to me, but I'm like, that's fine. Like I don't care. Just go to her meetings and see what she has to say, because it's very important. Oh, and oh damn. Before she left us, we were buying packages together. Like we were learning about like methylene blue and like other like nootropics. And so like we had bought these, and she had got hers first, and she sent me a message like the morning of about like how she was gonna use her or whatever. And like I regret like not responding to that. But like I got all these packages, and I'm like, damn it, like I want Susan, like I need Susan to like be my partner for like the next step of like, what are we gonna do with the stuff that we all just bought? And so like I don't know, I feel kind of lost with that. But yeah, I don't know, like hopefully maybe I'm hoping Susan can guide me from beyond, and like just like I don't know, direct me with whatever my life path that I'm on that I'm not aware of, because it's very scattered. But yeah, I guess that's what I have to say about Susan.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen, for sharing. You know, you reminded me. So I love to have everyone think right now, everybody that's watching online and watching the archives, and think about the interactions that you want to have with Susan in your heart. And just be clear about those intentions, whether it's getting information about methylene blue, you know, how it opens your, you know, you can put a couple drops in water and then stand out in the sun, and it just opens up your cells to processes that enhance your wellness and health. It's really cool. And she, you know, she was such a pioneer. She was doing VR health clinic, all these different cool brain devices and, you know, light devices. So she was, you know, she was a pioneer in every way. And I remember that spoon bending party too. You know, she was like, all right, let's do this. You know, it was just like, it was so fun. So I think she's done almost anything and everything in this, you know, in the realm of you know, consciousness and things like that, because her leadership and her curiosity has done that. So that's really cool. And yeah, thanks so much for sharing, Karen, and thanks for supporting her work over the years. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people have told me that she was like a mother to them. You know what I mean? Like Karen saying, yeah, we were you know, she was an entrepreneurial mentor for me, and she's been a mother figure for many people as well. So I do feel like she was coming through on the radio based on the responses. So if anybody has any questions right now, they can ask her that. And if not, we're going to close, but let's give her a chance because I know she doesn't want to talk over people with the radio either. Susan, thank you for being here with us tonight, showering your light down. Ashley, you have a question?
Yeah, she sent me a message she shared, which is the theme of this evening and our gathering is honor your giftedness fully and completely, to be fully present to everyone's gifts. So what I heard,
Yes, she just said yes. Did you hear that? She just beeped yes. And that's what you guys in the shares. It's like she looked at me and she made me feel important for my gifts. You know what I mean? Like that's okay. So she just said yes.
And what I felt from that was like she knows she shared a couple when we were in Hawaii. And I think that I was a little bit afraid to be fully myself because I have a lot of gifts and I have a lot of gifts to be present for the kids who have a lot of gifts. It wasn't me having a lot of gifts for me. It was me having a lot of gifts to show the kids that I've walked the walk and been the talk and all of that. And what she wanted to share was that I had an inner part of me not being fully myself because I didn't want to be bigger or better than anyone else. I want to lift everyone else up and everyone else be big in their giftedness. And she said, yes. And when you do that, you accidentally dishonor yourself. And therefore, you really can't be fully present for the other's giftedness in them. So it kind of is like this negative feedback loop. And so to come out of it is just really in all the humbleness you already are, be your full gifted self and show your gifts wherever it's appropriate. And when you are your full gifted self in every moment, you're able to really illuminate the light within you to illuminate the light within the others. And so that then they can shine their full gifted self. And she said this group is very, very highly gifted. And they may have a similarity of not wanting to shine all of our gifts because we want everyone else to shine everybody else's gifts. So we ended up kind of negatively creating a negative feedback loop. And so she says, break out and be your full self so that you can share and illuminate everyone else's full gifted self. Thank you, Zinka.
That's so cool. And she agreed. And I think, she could pull that off because she was so fun. And she had that smirk. She's like, oh yeah, let's do this. You know what I mean? She's like, oh my gosh, my guys are telling me to do this. And it was like Karen said, it was like super exciting. You're like, wow. And she was like, and I'm just going to do it because that's my guidance. Like when we tap into our guidance, it's like, you can do anything. You know what I mean? And so, but most of us aren't listening. Danielle, did you want to say anything? I saw you take off your camera. Hi, Danielle. Did you want to share something or not?
You know what? I just decided I went from my phone to here because my internet
Perfect.
was working, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to go on, and I wasn't expecting to say anything, but I wanted to be here. I could say so much. I could go on for days. She was, so much for me, a mentor, a friend, all those things, a motherly figure of, just for everybody. I mean, she really just everything that I'm doing now and is honoring her. And I had, wrote on the Facebook page, like I had found out when I got out from vacation and I wasn't on social media a lot, and I just wrote so much, and I literally will just honor her, for the rest of my life and beyond, really. And that's kind of what I wrote and what I'm going to do. And even I'm going to just be starting my own business. And even just in the name, I have just so much stories, my business name, we've talked about it. And I know she's seen my little logo and we went back and forth, but it's Hiawatha Healings. And we have such a connection through that. And she has through my name and so I'm just I could just go on for so long, but I'm so glad that I was actually able to meet you though, and that I went to, oh my gosh, the event in Sedona this past one. I'm just so happy I was able to go. I wasn't really in the greatest space to go for the last one's conferences that she did. And so I'm just grateful to, be present here and connect with all of you. And, my heart goes out to everybody. And yeah, so thank you.
That's so cool. I'm so happy that she helped you with her business. So that sounds like another common thread. Getting the courage and the insight and the intuition on all the decisions to make. And women entrepreneurs aren't that common. So it takes a lot of balls to do that. And so start a business and to run a business and do that. So Susan, we honor you so much for that as well. Yeah. So cool. Let's just drop into our hearts one more time. Susan, thank you for guiding us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for requesting interaction with us. It's really cool to have you here with us. And I encourage everyone to keep asking questions with her. I mean, I can just see her smirking and grinning right now. Susan, I want you to feel the connection of all the people you have connected. It's like I'm seeing this huge grid of this to this, to this, to this, to that, to this, in so many walks of life, whether it was Riz's book or his teaching or the people that you taught at MIT, those square-minded, logical people there, or the people that you taught spoon bending, all of it, the people you brought together, Tamdango, all of it. That's quite a legacy of weaving light. I know you were thinking about doing some traveling, Susan. So I hope that you traveled tonight to all those places around the world that you still wanted to see. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Our condolences go to her 2 children. And yeah, thanks so much, Susan, for touching our lives so much. We love and appreciate you. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight.